Hi, welcome back to the garden. Today is Sunday, February 19th. I think we're going to start a new series, Questions in the Greenhouse. I got a really great question in the premiere about how much mulch you put on top of your plants. I was thinking that just meant on top of the potatoes. Then I got to thinking about it a little more, and yes, in the deep mulch, to keep the weeds down, you want to be at least 4 inches thick or thicker. And when you're starting off, if you're starting off in the winter like I'm doing, I put it down a foot and a half thick. You don't want to have a foot and a half thick over your seeds. They will not germinate that way. Potatoes will push right on up through 8 or 9 inches easy, not a problem. Carrots on the other hand, lettuce on the other hand, you really don't want anything on them. They will not push up through anything. Lettuce needs to be straight on the soil. Carrots need to be straight on the soil. When it's hot, we start the carrots with a burlap sack or a piece of cardboard or a piece of board, but that's just to keep them moist. As soon as they germinate, you got to get that board off as soon as they germinate. Now the carrots that we planted this winter, we hadn't covered with anything. They're doing just fine. They like the cool weather. I think we really need to go out and take a look at the mulch itself. So come on, let's take a look. Let's use this garlic as an example. Now we took this down to bare soil and then we planted the garlic cloves into the soil. Then we put a light little covering of mulch over the top of it. In following my story, you'll see that the wind will blow leaves and other things right up on there. It will help mulch it. So we're just kind of let that mulch itself. Now where we planted the potatoes yesterday, let me pull this back. And we took that straight down to the soil. But then we went ahead and added another 6 inches on top of it. See our potato right there. And then we got layers of leaves and hay on top of that. As that grows, that'll push right on up through there, no problem. And then again, if you look at our lettuce, we planted this in September. We took that straight down to soil. And as the wind's blown leaves in around it as it's grown, it's doing just fine. You do not want to mulch in around your lettuce until after it's sprouted. And then obviously these are not 12 inches tall, so you don't want to put 12 inches of mulch on top of it. The main thing is you want to keep the ground covered to feed the life in the soil that feeds your plants and to keep any other seeds from germinating. And I've not explained this very well, but every time we open up a tote, especially on these carrots, I pull back the leaves that have blown in around there. But now that they've sprouted and they're making their first true leaves, I'm not so critical about removing all the mulch. As these get just a little bigger, we will mulch the ground underneath them. Swiss chard that we planted last year and it's made it this far, it has about 6 inches of mulch around it. Right here in the cold frame, you'd say this is growing because we don't have mulch. It's really kind of growing because the seed's in the straw. But these plants really aren't big enough to really mulch around yet. But as soon as they get just a little bigger, we're definitely going to mulch these. And these cabbages, I've let leaves go ahead and settle in around them. As they get bigger, we'll go ahead and mulch those a little heavier. Like this kale and these beets are now mature enough, we've got quite a little bit of mulch in underneath them. In here, we've got an easy 6 inches of mulch that we pulled back to plant, and it's kind of fallen back in around them, but they're big enough to handle even more mulch. And in our raspberries, we've got a good 2 inches of wood chips around them. The same thing with our strawberries. We got quite a bit of mulch around them. They've grown up through there pretty well. And I'm sorry, I never really talked about how much mulch you put around each plant. I never really thought about it. The rule of thumb to start a weed-free garden is 4 inches thick or thicker. When you start piling it up in the winter, you can go a foot, easy. It's going to attract worms. It's going to break down a lot faster than you think. Now the different kinds of organic material in your mulch break down at different speeds. Leaves take a little longer to break down. All those leaves that are piled up real thick that we put over that one potato patch, they'll be down to bare soil. At least that's been my experience. Now the hays and the grasses, they break down very quickly. Wood chips take a little longer to break down. But when I mix it all together, I only have to add a little bit throughout the summer. I hope this clears up some of the confusion around how much mulch you should have around your plants. But I need some help from you. Leave a comment down below and tell me what kind of title I should put on this series. And send in your questions, and we'll do a question and answer, best I can do. And if you want to see more about mulch, click that link right there and I'll meet you back in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.